anybody want to make a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve today's agenda.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, agenda approved. All right, so are you going to do the minutes? We'll go over the minutes from
Oh, I have two.
the February 3rd meeting.
That's in the same thing.
It's not, and
it's-
I keep intending to put those two together, but we don't have any.
Okay, so approval of the minutes.
I make most of the minutes.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the minutes are approved. Is there any written comments from the public?
No, sir.
Looks like nobody's here for a public comment.
Woo-hoo.
All right, old business, capital needs, man,
It's
okay.
about time to sow some seed out in the green spaces.
There's been lots of comments about people wanting to use it.
Right, and we will have our summer reading kickoff out there this
Nice.
year. So it will be out on the green space. And I can discuss, I had a meeting where we got the time frame for the Shelving Carpet project. I can discuss that here, or we can discuss that another, it's up to the chair.
How are you feeling? You got what about discussing?
I can discuss anything you want, Chairman.
Pretty good today.
Maybe like a 10,000 foot level.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
fine.
just-
I don't want to go into detail, I just want to
I've
give
been
you
sitting in the
guys.
car with my dog for 9.5 hours.
So the most 30,000 foot view is, it'll begin on April 24th. And actually, we'll begin taking down shelving next week.
Nice.
I'm ready to hire temp help if I can't get volunteer help, so we can do it quickly. And we're supposed to be done by July 28th.
And that's everything.
That's carpeting, that's shelving installed.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, it looks so beautiful now.
Yeah, so it's going to be in 3 phases. There will be several, probably 1 day or less closures of the library.
Okay. So you
Especially-
spread that out?
Yeah, officially delivery days. We just don't want to, when, unloading.
Heavy equipment and.
Unloading pallets full of steel, and it's probably just best to.
So is that full closure, employees and everything, or just?
Employees will be here.
Employees will be here, but
Okay.
that'll
Employees will
give
be here.
them time to work on
Yeah.
reshelving, et cetera.
Yeah,
while-
we'll be here, and we've got a part in this process, but, yeah, we sat down today, remotely and some in person with the key staff and, the carpet, vendor and the moving people, so, part of this is we've hired Hallett as a company, all they do is they move shelving with the book still on. This is what they do, and they do it all over the country, and with the people who are selling us and installing the shelving. So, it's going to take up our summer, but if we stay on track, we'll be done by August.
So did we ever get any movement on furniture? Or were we still kind of holding out on?
I'm going to start that discussion with, we haven't, is the short answer, but I'm going to start that discussion with Tiffany, our designer architect, probably next week, because
Because I thought we were going to try to get that on this year's budget, because we had it
Yeah.
approved for
Yes.
last year.
No,
yes,
yeah.
Well, I mean, we had the shelving approved
yes.
on last, so we're paid for the shelving last year's budget, right?
We just
Kind of,
we
sort
just,
of. We just rolled the
it was
money
agreed.
over.
We rolled it over into this year's, and we do have enough money for the furniture. So, and that's upstairs, downstairs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there any? Okay, Friends of the Library.
So there's they're almost done with the build out over there. They're laying carpet right now. It's almost completed. Ductwork's done, ceilings are in. I think it's painted. I think they're really close. But I talked with Rocky Wilkerson, who's the director of Workforce Investment Solutions, and they go on the Richland academic calendar, and they really don't want to move mid-semester. So we're talking, and I'm okay with that from our perspective. I don't want to disrupt, their academic
Should
calendar.
we wait till summer, I guess?
Probably mid-May. I think they're their semester's over early to mid-May,
Yeah.
so hopefully they'll be they'll be done, the construction is gonna be done by then. I would guess early April, they'll be completely finished. But they would prefer not to move in April, so I'm okay with them waiting until their semester's over in May. Then it's moved to Friends. Friends want some of our cast-off shelving that we're gonna use. I'm working with the city to find a place to store that, to get it moved.
Now, you pay, so you want to ask the city so it'd be kind of free?
Yes.
Okay. That doesn't hurt. Help us out.
That's where we are.
I guess the friends are probably pretty eager to move in, huh?
Yeah, because they have very little revenue coming in right now.
So, security hours, how are we looking at?
We're open, I was talking to Sergeant Tertoka, who does the scheduling, and he's hoping by mid-March we'll be ready to start offering those. He's got some finagling he has to do. We'll end up paying him more too, because we pay him to do the schedule. Right.
More schedule time.
Yeah, but, I suggested maybe a self-service kind of way of doing it, like there's a spreadsheet that they all had access to, and he said, that's not a good idea. He said, so, and
And again, you know, take some hours.
so,
Are they, oh, did he say he was pretty confident we can get the schedule full, or is it just kind
he
of,
doesn't,
we'll see, he's like, we
he
can
said,
see it?
if we open it up to sheriff's deputies from the jump, and I told him, please do, he said maybe.
Okay. Ooh.
Yeah, and he's looking at some different ways of doing it, like what if we just didn't have a shift time, just so, here's they're open from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday, sign up for what you want to sign up for, first come, first serve, so he's looking at some different ways of doing that.
So would it be good to, so as a contingency, to, I guess, look at high traffic days? Do you have a breakdown like the days, like high volume, high traffic days?
Yeah,
Times,
yeah.
That way, if we don't, we can at least say, well, we would like to get all of the shifts covered, but at a minimum, can we at least?
We can try for that. I think he's still going to they're going to sign up for the shifts they want to sign up for.
Right.
But yeah, we can analyze that. I mean, Matt has all that stuff. We got breakdown, this foot traffic breakdown by hour. So.
And most of it is, I mean, you want to protect the staff, but I think the patrons are like the higher priority, so we can cover the most times we have. I mean,
Just curious.
I opened up with, so I should have opened up
We
better.
want to protect everyone.
We love the staff and we value their safety
Okay.
in a high regard, right? But, the customers, we're here to serve the customers, so we want them to feel safe coming to visit.
And we're getting some interesting feedback from the community survey. And one of the things that we're hearing is, I don't feel safe until I get in the building, then I feel safe. Now, it's skewed, our results are skewed, because at the time that I haven't gotten the final stuff, because the survey closed Monday. But probably something like 80% of our respondents are white women over 65,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
they
look.
count, and
So have we looked at, so can we put down to look at the security pods? Those little plants sit up, the little pole, have the little cameras on it. Just to cover the parking lot. That way they can say, hey, look,
there are,
Kroger's got them.
yeah, just kind of throw it
our
on.
lease agreement says that the city's responsible for all cameras outside the bill. So let me start talking with them about that. And it also says, does anybody know if they've installed security cameras over in their parking lot? Because our lease agreement says if they put them outside their facilities, they gotta put them outside this facility too. So I'll look into that. City manager's out of the country right now, so it's slowing some things down, but that's something that is part of this. I don't have a commitment from the city to pay for half of this yet.
Okay.
So, just,
How is that moving? Still kind of little dragging your feet on saying yay or nay?
what I'm hearing from the soon-to-be retired CFO of the city is that the has said he's out of the country until he can talk to him.
So, kick the can down or?
Yeah, so yeah, Greg's not gonna commit to that without
See.
Mr. Wright
Okay.
approving it.
Okay. All right, any other, old business? All right, moving along. Jeff's favorite portion, the check register. All right. Rick, you wanna walk us
You
through the
didn't
register?
do the, buy the vendor thing, no?
No, it's
It's
in
in
there.
there.
It's back
It's a
here.
single page.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's behind.
Yeah, I-
Stuff, Jeff.
I could walk you through it, or I could respond to any questions. I did pull this up so that I could show you guys these databases that were, our $5,000 package here. It's all these, I think, isn't it? Was it?
Yes.
So this is what you're seeing. This is a database on sexuality and gender, indigenous peoples in North America, political extremism or radicalism, slavery, anti-slavery.
So what is this again?
So about 3/4 of the way down the first page of the check register.
Oh, the Gale
Group?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's incredible the resources that we have just by being a library member. Like if you're
Oh,
looking at
yeah.
Cater, and
Yeah.
I mean, these are amazing. Not that I know anything about Gale, but
And these, the ones that he showed you, are all primary resources.
okay.
So if you're doing research on, for a student, that's something that you can use for your paper.
Right.
And not to go off on a tangent, but do we highlight this to like the local schools and stuff like that?
We do, and in fact, we're going to be meeting with the middle school library in a couple weeks here, and it's one of the things that we'll be talking about. Here's what we hear from them is that teachers aren't signing the term papers that they used to. either. So
Hey, they don't
that's-
wanna read through that.
Yeah, so.
Where's the line when you need it? Where's the?
Wow, you can
Good
find
question.
old Herald and Review articles on there.
Oh, yeah, and that's full text searchable, so a lot of times you can only search headlines in a newspaper. It hits every word in the body also.
How current of publications can you see on there? You know?
I think it's only a couple months behind,
Wow.
yeah.
We
This is,
have
this is-
amazing databases of
this
this
is one of
library.
my
I mean, getting
favorites,
a library
it's not
card here is worth a lot. Like, all my friends who
Yes.
had Mount Zion cards would always complain about how I lucked out being in the Decatur Public Library District.
Yeah, this is incredible.
I love this. This is the old fire maps. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about today, right? Today.
Yeah, I didn't mean to go off on it, but this is great to highlight,
Yes.
good stuff.
There, or, missed it. Down,
Um,
down, down. Oh.
So I know where to go for my liberal arts study, so I'm okay.
Wow.
These are the fire insurance maps. We might not keep this because it got an initial curiosity boost, but not a whole lot of people look at it.
Except for you.
Yeah, well, if you do some development, some of the stuff is still relevant. If you're doing some, real estate development work. But
Gosh. Yeah, sorry to take us down.
No.
It's interesting, that's good, and,
I have one question. What's unique management service?
Unique management is what you ask, this is the one you ask all the
Oh.
time. What is it?
Darn! I was trying my hardest
It's
not to ask about that one.
No, it's okay. That's our collection agency. So they do what they call the gentle nudge, and we
No, I
get,
asked every time.
we get a,
Where unique triggers you, I guess.
I think it does.
We
I
get
think
a-
I'm triggered by
we
that
get a
one.
return
Right.
of $4 in either in cash or recovered materials for every dollar we spend for them. I get quarterly reports from them. It's almost exactly every quarter. It's almost exactly 4 to 1.
Okay. How are they with collection? Pretty good at recovery?
That's 4 to 1. For every dollar we spend, we get $4 worth of either cash in payment or recovered materials.
And that's
That's
where
worth
they
it.
can go right there.
Well,
That's $1,000 we
because
just got back in this
They
week.
can't, well, I shouldn't say this in another meeting. They can't report to collection. They can't report to credit bureaus, but tell people they can't report to their neighbors, so.
Hey, the tactics they use, what they use, we paying for results.
Yeah, yeah.
Unless they're shaking people down.
And it's really, they're really quite, it's pretty easygoing, and they kind of step it up. By the third letter, they get pretty.
Yeah, I mean, if you get back 4-1, I mean, you're pretty effective, however they do it. I mean,
I'm really pleased with it.
I can ask some of my friends, I have some friends that were serious scofflaws with this library. See if they've gotten any letters.
What about the Decatur Civic Center Authority? You rented something, I'm guessing?
I don't know.
Oh, I bet it's security.
Yes, you
Oh,
go,
yeah.
So
Give me the
yeah,
details.
so we're actually paying, so it's the Civic Center who's paying the officers.
Gotcha.
And then they're invoicing us. Otherwise, we'd be, as city entities, we'd be paying them overtime and we would not be able to afford it.
Wow.
And then is the Friends of the St. Paul Public Library, is that the
Like our strategies.
strategies?
Yeah.
It's interesting that that's their name, Friends of the St. Paul Library.
Yeah, they are, that is who they are. They are like our Friends of the Decatur Public Library. They make their money by selling books. Well, the Friends of the St. Paul Public Library has a consulting service. They realized, I don't know, I think it's about 10 years ago, that they had a lot of know-how on their board. And we're like, okay, yeah, we can keep having book sales, but boy, we can make a whole lot more money if we, started consulting.
Yeah.
And it worked out.
I'm looking forward to seeing what they come up with.
Me too.
How did the rest of the day go? I will say the one takeaway I saw was that a lot of people were saying, you need to come to us. And I'm thinking, this is a physical building, like, people need to come here. But I get the idea. I know we need to do some outreach, but I also feel like,
Yeah, we can have an offline talk about that, or I don't know, does the steering committee have a meeting scheduled?
It's not scheduled yet.
But, yeah, I mean,
Just
I hope that people understand that if we're doing more outreach, we're either going to have to stop some services we're doing here, or hire people, which means their taxes are going to go up. So, that doesn't mean we can't look for ways we can partner with other agencies to do outreach, but
I have mixed emotions, because like, you can go out as much as you want, but you need people to actually come in the building and use our services. So I almost feel like the outreach we need to do is just invite groups to come here and have a tour.
I mean, look,
Come on in.
bookmobiles are fantastic. They're also expensive too. I mean, that's we had 3 bookmobiles. That's 6 full-time employees. 3 of them have to have a CDL.
It's a big job.
Well, it's at least 6 full-time employees.
The bookmobile was in its last year or two when we first moved here, when my kids were really little, and we used to go to it when it was over by Muffley School. And I will tell you, my kids would rather come here, you have more books here.
And my kids, when they were young, we were living in Champaign. I was in the library school. I took them to libraries all the time. But when the bookmobile came to the park across the street, now that was fun.
Bookmobile days are the best day.
My kids liked the bookmobile, but then as soon as we left the bookmobile, they told me to take them here.
Yeah.
So I was like, what's the point of going to the bookmobile if I have to come here anyway?
There aren't as many books on it.
That's why. My kids pointed that out. Even at 2 and 3 years old, they were like, there's more at the library.
So how's the digital and paper advertising going? Like, we getting any extra traffic? We see an increase or steady flow of traffic from Facebook and Instagram?
You see those. Do you see those reports, or is it?
I don't know if I understand the question.
So I mean, like, how successful is it? Like, is it drawing more eyes? Like, is there more traffic, more people viewing the IG page, Facebook page?
I have the stats sent to me every month, but I rarely look at them.
We look at our open rate for our email.
Which has gone up to, we were in 13% opens of our email news blast for a while, And since we've changed it a bit, we're up to about 25%.
Nice.
And when we send something out that's a letter from the director, it goes up to 38%.
Nice.
So this month was really nice. I think 3 combined newsletters for 27% open rate, maybe more.
So
I
so
cannot-
I didn't need to see Rick's name, but I'm like, oh,
Yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. Let's
Just a picture off the last one.
come me out for this.
And Matt, and I'll kind of lean into it at the full board meeting, because Matt does report like
Okay,
website traffic and that kind of stuff too.
okay.
I was listening to him on my drive. When he came from
So you guys willing to, if you have any.
I would like to make a motion
questions on
to
this?
approve the check registry and send it to the full board.
Second.
All in favor?
We can't do that way too.
I was thinking that, but
Yeah.
Sophia,
Yes.
Mr. Jeff,
Yes.
myself, aye. Yeah, I have it. Motion passed. All right, budget actuals.
So a couple things I want to point out is
Got cut off a little bit.
I've not seen this. Yeah, this is it's printed the wrong way.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
What?
I didn't notice. That's
So,
my
well,
bad.
we can get to that.
I didn't read it.
Amy sent that digital copy too, so we have, and it's just a discussion, so.
Yeah.
Watch that.
We got it.
Yeah,
We're
we're in
good,
good shape.
we're good, we're good. There we
Okay,
go. All better.
so a couple of things I want to point out. One, and in my 9 years, this has never happened before, but, so the allocations, those are, you know, the things that the city says, we do this for you, and this is what's gonna cost you this year.
Right.
So they do our payroll, they provide HR services, they do some IT support for us. So we made our budget, and then in January, they changed the allocation. Went up.
Without me warning?
Yeah, without even, I had to just discover it, I went, wait a minute, if you divide that by 12, that doesn't match.
Okay.
So, that's about a $35,000 swing.
Did you ask them? about it?
Increase? You said it's a bunch of.
Yeah. So it's about, so one of them actually went down, but the net is a 35,000 increase in cost. And keep in mind what we wrote, what we wrote into the budget as far as a surplus was about 35,000. So, something to keep in mind. I talked to the budget officer, and you know, he kind of punted to the chief financial officer. He said, you know, I just do what I'm told. You know, here's what happened. So, but nobody told me. I just discovered it. You know.
So they just, so across the board, they're charging us more for, did they give you a breakdown, like on the increase, so they give us?
I can get that for you. I do have it. I don't have it here, but I do have it.
Now, when we set that budget, is that usually a projection, like you said, okay, projected?
Usually that budget, that's a budget number they give us, and that's just what it is. We
Oh,
just
we
divide by
put the number in
12.
from what
We
they,
just divide by 12, but then I'm looking at my budget report and I'm going, that's more than, if you take that times 12, that's more than that number. So
yeah, that's odd, that
I
they don't
don't-
give us numbers and then come back.
I've never seen that in.
So what, did they explain why they did that, or no?
You know, here's what, Anthony Cooling is the budget officer over there, and he said, I believe these reflect the actual cost of the services, but it should have been done, in his opinion, during the budget period, not after.
Well, that's what I think. I mean,
Yeah, he thinks
should we be amending our budget through the city council, just so the city council is aware of the fact that they
well,
changed it all in the middle?
I think you could, but it's really any individual line doesn't matter as much as the bottom line. But it's just something to stay aware of. Because we don't have a choice in this. They
No, I
take it.
know,
It's an
yeah.
allocation, they just take it. Because they're our bookkeepers, you know, and all of our money goes through them. They're the ones who collect our taxes.
Well, at least they tell us,
Yeah.
hey, by the way, we're gonna take another $35,000.
Yeah, and 35,000 isn't huge in a you know, a projected $5.5 million budget, but it's
But it adds up, I mean,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
it-
35 here.
Over 12,
there.
over 12 months, it's like, 12 grand,
no, it's 35,000 total for the 12 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's still 35,000.
I also want to point out, if you compare this to some other ones, you'll see that I had made a few years ago, I made an error that kept coming through. We've got more money than I thought we had. It's not a bad thing, but I made it, this is just, these spreadsheets just refer to each other.
Okay.
And I made an error somewhere, and it kept compounding.
So are you gonna republish the updated sheets?
The old ones, no, unless, I mean, you guys can have them if you
Well,
want.
just so, that's so that we have to see the new numbers that kind of reflect it, we can go back and look.
No, he's putting the new number.
But
in.
these are the.
Well, no, I'm saying the city, so is there any way we could see the change in the city's number in the budget, or are we just gonna leave it and just put down?
For the, you mean for the
For
new
the-
allocations?
right.
Yeah, I'll get that, I can get
Because
that
it's,
to you.
it averages out to almost $3 grand a month.
Yes, I can get that to you. Absolutely.
Okay.
I will get that to you, I can send it to you almost immediately after the meeting.
I mean, they should send us a letter or something, saying,
I
hey,
thought it was,
justification or
I
something.
thought it was, it's just highly irregular.
Right.
And,
Well, they should have told us, because they made our we have to submit our budget to them, they should at least give us the proper numbers for the budget.
Agreed. I mean, right, as of today, we're in pretty good shape. The end of February, 17% of the year is passed. We haven't collected any property taxes, but we're at 10% of everything else, and we didn't get hardly anything this month. So we had a really good January. We can see our payroll expenses are well under expectation. We're a little over on materials, but we have complete control over that. Professional services is under budget. Allocations, you can see, are over budget because they changed it on us. Office supplies, maintenance at 5%, staff development, and some of these things we know have peaks and valleys. So, but I'm not. Yes, so I'm not. I don't do a projection until the April meeting when I have at least 1 quarter of data under our belt. But I don't see anything that really concerns me, but I just wanted to make you aware of the change in the allocations, and 2, that I made in the balance sheet, I made a few years ago, I made an error somewhere that just kept getting.
How much of a swing was it?
I'd have to go look and, if we look back at last month's, actually, I can just pull that up, we've got it right here. So I was saying that we had $1,899,000. What we actually have is what we actually had was $2.6 million. So
It's a big difference.
So it's about 800,000.
yeah, it was a couple of these lines, and one of them I didn't even look to see where the error was. I just pulled up. I finally found we've got an improved financial software system, so I'm able to navigate a little bit better, and I can see what today's cash balance is. And I went, wait a minute, I don't think we have that much money, but I went back and saw, yes, we do.
That's good though.
Well, it's not good that I made the error,
No, but
but
it's
it's
good to
good
get
that
more
we're.
than we got as opposed to
I'd
less
rather
than
make
we
it,
got.
I'd rather be in that
Yeah.
direction than the other, but.
Just curious here, just in case, like audit wise, like how often, I think I've asked this before, so sorry for asking again, but how often do we bring in like a third party?
Every year.
Okay.
We don't, we're part of the cities.
Okay.
Well, because they're not auditing my report to the board, they're auditing their own financial, what's in the financial.
How they see the
software.
money come through and they take it and right out.
So-
But they are, but
So
our
are they
budget is part of that.
Is city's doing like a city audit.
Right, and the
And we're-
library budget is a part of that.
But
So I have to respond to things, you know, from year to year. Sometimes, I think they've had, I don't know that we've ever gotten dinged in the 8 years. But
yeah.
if this was this is my report to you guys, but they're not looking at that. They're looking at the right numbers.
Okay.
Okay, so they're not looking at Rick Meyer's spreadsheets.
Yeah,
They're looking at city finances
Yeah.
spreadsheets.
Which is in some program, I guess.
Yeah, well, there's Munis I have to access it through a remote desktop, and, you know, I have some permissions and some permissions I don't have. I can't move money in or out of it, but it's I get that report and then I translate it into, this is probably the 5th different way in 9 years that I've shown, maybe the 4th in 9 years that I've reported it to the Board of Trustees. When I first got here, it was a lot more complex, and the board said, we want to see this simplified. But it was not in any of this, okay, so this did not have any errors. It's the balance sheet, where somewhere along the line, I made an error that kept, from year to year, kept being continued. So we're in better financial shape than I thought we
You said about 4 years ago, you said kind of
were. Every 4 years
back
ago,
about 4 years.
something went wrong.
Are the funds just in like where are those stored typically? Are they just like a bank account, or how's it, how's it accounting wise, what is it stored at?
Yeah, and there is some investment done. So we do get some investment income also.
And is this, the city controls that?
Correct. The
Okay.
city does that for us.
So the city oversees all the, like, capital fund, all that kind of stuff?
They do, and that's what and they charge us for those allocations, are
Oh,
what we
that,
pay
yeah.
them to do that. I'm just translating it to you guys, and I made an error in my translation to you guys. We didn't even have a balance sheet until a few years ago. I didn't know how much cash we had. I'd have to call them and say, well, how much is actually in the fund?
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah, but now I can, with this software, with this version of the software is called Munis, with this version of Munis, I can actually go in there and see pretty easily. Cool. Yeah.
Now, does the city populate that with numbers, or do you populate?
City, I get these numbers from that. They don't,
From the new software?
from that software. I don't get, I print it out every month and then I put it into my spreadsheet to show you guys. What was done when I first got here was we just printed it off from Munis, and that's what the board saw. And one of the first things the board asked me to do was simplify that.
Does anybody want to make a motion to approve the budget action?
We don't have to.
No?
No, just discuss this.
Moving right along, vendor discussion. Vendor report?
I just received a big stuff.
Is this one?
Yeah, it's really not really.
We already talked about it.
All right. Any other new business to be discussed? You almost made record time.
You're good, man.
You're good. You came in with that.
Now I'm
energy.
tired.
That energy, yeah.
Motion to adjourn.
I second.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. Good job.